Dakota Ditcheva is tearing through the MMA world with a 15-0 record, a PFL championship belt, and knockout power that leaves legends speechless. She's headlining events, breaking records, and dominating fighters with UFC pedigrees. So why is she still not in the UFC? While fans flood social media with demands for her signing, the Octagon's doors remain shut. Today, we're diving deeper than ever before into the untold story behind her journey. This isn't just about contracts or rankings, it's about power, strategy, and the hidden chess game between promotions. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Dakota Ditcheva's UFC dream isn't delayed. It's being engineered. Let us start with the myth we've all been sold, that the UFC is the only destination for elite MMA talent. For decades, fighters like Conor McGregor and Amanda Nunes cemented this idea. The UFC isn't just a promotion, it's the final boss. When Dakota dismantled Cornelia Holm in 2023 to claim the PFL Europe title, media outlets like ESPN and MMA Fighting declared her UFC-bound. Fans assumed it was inevitable. But here's the reality check. The UFC isn't a charity for champions. It's a business built on creating stars, not importing them. Right now, the women's flyweight division is a logjam. 14 ranked fighters, 5 with multi-fight win streaks. And Dana White? He's obsessed with building stars from scratch, not paying premiums for athletes who already hold titles elsewhere. Think about it. Why would the UFC offer a $500,000 signing bonus to a fighter who is already a champion in another promotion? They'd rather wait, let her prove herself further, and then swoop in at a fraction of the cost. This isn't about Dakota's talent. It's about timing, leverage, and the cold economics of combat sports. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. PFL's $1 million trap. Yes, you heard that right. Dakota's current contract with the Professional Fighters League includes a life-changing prize pool, but with a catch. To claim the full $1 million, she must win the 2025 PFL playoffs. And here's the kicker. If she abandons the playoffs to join the UFC, she forfeits everything. No bonus. No guaranteed payouts. Just a handshake and a burned bridge. But this isn't just about money. It's about opportunity. While UFC fighters average 1.5 bouts per year, Dakota has fought 3 times in 2024 alone, facing ranked talent like Taila Santos and former UFC contenders. Her recent armbar submission of Santos wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Why would she trade rapid growth in PFL for the UFC's bureaucratic delays? Consider this. Alexa Grasso, the current UFC flyweight champion, went 18 months between title defenses. For a fighter like Dakota, whose game thrives on constant evolution, that's career suicide. PFL's playoff system isn't holding her back, it's accelerating her. Every fight she takes builds her resume, increases her market value, and forces the UFC to pay attention. This isn't a setback, it's a masterclass in strategic patience. Let's address the most controversial angle. Dana White's silence. In 2023, White publicly praised Dakota, calling her special and a future star. But when she tagged him on social media in 2024, "Ready for the UFC, Dana?" he didn't reply. Crickets. Why the sudden radio silence? The answer lies in Dana's playbook. The UFC needs a new flyweight star after Alexa Grasso moved up to challenge for the bantamweight title. But signing Dakota today means paying her PFL-level value, $300,000 per fight, plus bonuses. Wait until she's 18-0 with 2 more dominant wins. The UFC gets a proven draw at half the cost. This isn't rejection, it's calculated patience, and it's worked before. Remember Khabib Nurmagomedov? The UFC waited years before signing him, letting smaller promotions build his legend. By the time he entered the octagon, he was a must-see attraction. Dakota's situation is no different. The UFC isn't ignoring her. They're letting PFL do the heavy lifting. Every knockout, every headline, every viral moment increases her value to the UFC. Dana isn't blind to her talent. He's just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But let's dig deeper into the UFC's internal politics. The women's flyweight division isn't just crowded, it's toxic. Since its inception, the division has been plagued by inconsistent matchmaking, title vacancies, and fighters jumping between weight classes. Just look at the timeline. Valentina Shevchenko dominated for years, but after losing to Alexa Grasso in 2023, the division fractured. Now fighters like Erin Blanchfield and Macy Barber are clamoring for title shots, while veterans like Jessica Andrade keep the division unstable. Where does Dakota fit into this chaos? Nowhere. Yet. The UFC's strategy is clear. They want a fresh narrative. They need a fighter who hasn't been tainted by another promotion's politics. That's why they're waiting for Dakota to either lose or prove she's untouchable. Think about it. If she wins the PFL $1 million tournament and defeats a top UFC vet in PFL, like her upcoming fight against Murphy, a former number 3 contender, the UFC has no excuse. They'd be forced to sign her as a ready-made star. Until then, they'll keep fans guessing. This isn't about Dakota's readiness. It's about the UFC's storytelling. And in this story, she's not the protagonist yet. Now let's talk about the fan reaction and why it's completely missing the point. Social media is flooded with posts like, UFC is sleeping on Dakota, or Dana's scared of her. But here's the truth. Dakota isn't losing anything by staying in PFL. In fact, she's winning big. While UFC fighters struggle with inconsistent pay, PFL's prize-based model guarantees her $500,000 just for winning the playoffs. Add in sponsorship deals and social media growth, and she's earning more than most UFC flyweights. Take Erin Blanchfield, for example. As the number 1 contender, she made $150,000 for her last fight, less than half of Dakota's potential PFL payout. And let's not forget the branding. In PFL, Dakota is the face of the promotion. She headlines events. She gets primetime slots. In the UFC, she'd be buried under the McGregor-Nurmagomedov legacy. This isn't about ego, it's about leverage. By dominating PFL, Dakota forces the UFC to come to her terms. And when they do, she'll have the upper hand in negotiations. The fans screaming, "Sign her now," dawn to realize Dakota S playing 4D chess while they re-stuck on level 1. So, what's the path forward? Let's break it down step by step. First, Dakota must win the PFL $1 million tournament in 2025. This isn't T-optional, it's her golden ticket. Second, she needs to defeat a high-profile UFC veteran in PFL. Her upcoming fight against Murphy, the ex-UFC number 3, is critical. A dominant win here proves she belongs in the octagon. Third, the UFC's flyweight division needs a crisis. If Alexa Grasso loses the title in late 2025, the division will be in chaos, creating the perfect opening for Dakota. But here's the twist. Even if all these boxes align, Dakota might still say no. Why? Because PFL is reportedly offering her a lifetime contract, a deal that guarantees her $2 million per fight for the rest of her career. Imagine that. No more negotiations, no more politics, just guaranteed stardom. The UFC can't match that. So the real question isn't, why isn't she in the UFC? It's, why would she ever leave PFL? Let us end with this. Dakota Ditcheva's journey isn't a story of rejection. It's a story of power. While the UFC plays its waiting game, she's building a legacy on her terms. Every knockout, every headline, every viral moment is a brick in her empire. And when the UFC finally comes calling, she won't be begging for a seat at the table. She'll be dictating the terms. So next time you see a fan post UFC sleeping on Dakota, remember this: the only person in control here is Dakota herself. This isn't a dream delayed, it's a dream being perfected. And in MMA, the best revenge isn't a knockout, it's a bank statement. If you learned something new today, smash that like button. It helps more than you think. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our real-time update when Dakota finally signs with the UFC. And drop your prediction below. Will she join the UFC in 2025? Or will she stay with PFL forever? I'll see you in the comments.